This is the project called Hitler's Eye, and it's in hell.
All right, so let me take this apart. We unlock these layers. We have these flames. Turn those off. We have the actual eyeball itself. We have the pupil. We have the iris, and I don't know what these are called. I'll call them the spokes. And then we have the drop shadow underneath the eyeball. And then we have the background. And we put Hitler's eye in hell. The first thing I want to do is draw this rectangle. And I chose this color, but you have to know that with this exercise, Hitler's eye, you'll have to mess around with colors to get the effect that you prefer. And you'll understand that in a second because we're going to play a little bit of a blending mode and some transparencies, and blending modes are affected by the colors beneath them. Okay, so I got the background. Good, great, I got the background. All right. Um, I have the eyeball, right? So I'll show you how I did that. I'm just gonna throw this over here, this piece over here, that piece over there, and that over there. And here's how I did the eyeball. Duh, circle tool. So if you hold the shift key, constrains it to make a perfect circle. If you hold the option shift key, the circle is drawn from the center out. So I'm going to say that's about how big I want this eyeball to be. Right there. Then I'm going to take my direct select tool, click on this bottom anchor, and nudge it up with my arrow key up a couple of, and then use my right arrow key. So I'm going to make this ball, this juicy eye, like it's sitting on the ground. All right. Then I'm going to put a gradient on this eyeball to give it a little bit more depth. Where is the gradient tool? Right here. 2 clicks on it, and where is it? Oh, there it is, right there. Here we go. And I had previously set a gradient in here, and that's it. But I don't think it's very helpful to show you just that. So what I'm going to do is do this gradient all over again. So I'm going to apply gradient to this fake eyeball. Have my gradient panel out. I'm going to make a radial gradient. So I click on the center there, and there it is. And that's not exactly where I want the radial gradient to fall. So now I'm going to edit it and click here on edit gradient, and I can move this around, or I can make it larger or smaller, move the stops around. I think they're called color stops, I don't know. And the speed from the change from this color stop to that color stop is controlled by this. So there we go. I'm going to move it up like this because it's a little uneven, right? And I can actually kind of squash this down like the eye too by playing with that dot up there. And then, so now I'm going to, color it. And I'm going to move that back over there. So watch, whatever I slide on here, you'll see when whatever adjustments I do up here, you'll see them reflected down here because they're both activated. So I'm going to leave that white. I'm going to click twice on this. And that color panel comes up, or color swatches comes up. And I'm going to pick a very light brown. And there it is. And I want my white to you have much more of the be the most predominant color in this run, then I can do that to it. So that's how I made this look a little bit more juicy. So we got that, and visually to me it looks a little off. So I'm just going to do this a little bit, turn it a little bit. All right, then I'm going to make the pupil. Excuse me, what is it? What are these pieces of the eye called? Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to draw the iris. So I'm just going to come over here and click this color before I even start. And now I'm going to say, okay, that's where I want. That will be the iris. And then I want to make the pupil. But I'm going to do something else so it's a little bit easier to follow. I'm going to make a pattern brush, and I want the stroke that I'm going to make to be black. Grab my stroke tool or line tool, and I'm just going to do this kind of guesstimate, and you'll see why. So there's a black line, and then I'm going to go over here to this profile and pick a profile for that line. And as you see how that changed the profile of the line there. I can do this, change the profile that way, and so on. This one, we're just going to do this here. And you can make custom profiles, to be honest with you. They're pretty tight. But that's not today. I'm going to use this to make a pattern brush. I'm going to click that shape, drop it here in the brushes panel, click pattern brush. Okay, this is what comes up to show you what the heck your brush is going to look like. If I increase the spacing to 200, you see that, how that changed? So the space between each one of those little lines, the spokes, is going to be 200%. And you'll see what I mean by that. But I'm just going to use spacing at 100%. Okay. So now I'm going to draw another circle in here. Just guesstimate like that. Click on that pattern brush that I just made. There it is. You see that? And to line these up perfectly, I'll show you another trick, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Eyeball this and do that right there. So there it is. And I want to be able to change the color on that easily. So what I'm going to do is expand it, object, expand appearance, and there it is. So now when I go to the outline, you'll actually see each one of these little spokes is an actual closed path that I can manipulate. Whereas before it was just an effect applied to that stroke, or just a brush applied to that stroke. So I expanded it. Command or Control Y, I can go back to this view. All right, so I got that. Now I got to decide what color this asshole's eyes are going to be. I really don't know. I don't know what history says. Let me look it up right now. Apparently Hitler had grayish blue eyes. So what the hell? All right, well, I'm going to use my layers here to select this oval. Since I have a few pieces on top of each other, it's easier for me to use my layers to select them. I'll just make sure I have my fill forward here and select this color. And what I'm gonna do is on the fly change it. So I'll click twice here. There it is. There's the CMYK mix. There's the RGB mix. I'm not worried about that. These are grayish blue. So grayish blue. All right, there's my grayish blue. You can mix what you want. All right, so we got that. And then these, the spokes, I'll actually change them to maybe like a dark blue. So there we go. I'm just spitballing here. I got these guys, and I'm going to lock those three. So there they are. And now I'm going to make some bloody veins on his eyeballs. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool here, and I'm going to set it at its the smoothest setting versus accurate. I'll show you why. Watch, when it's really accurate, when I do this, nothing happens because I didn't have a color on my stroke. So I'll try it again. And then I do this. You see how wavy it is? Which, can work in its own way, but I prefer not to. So I'm going to click twice back on that and move it all the way back over here to smooth. And select OK. So now when I do this, see how much smoother it is? That's the setting I'm going to use. I have the setting the way I want it. Now I have all of those veins. I have this locked, I have this locked, and I have my background locked, which enables me to just marquee all these veins. And I can move them around on their own. But I'm going to group them, set them back down here on the juicy eyeball. And I'm going to make them red, bloodshot ass eyes. And I'm going to change the profile on these too. So what should I do? See, you can just do a lot of different things with those profiles. So I like that actually.